What is up, beautiful people? Back with another Bucket M3 restoration episode. Now in today's video, we are going to be installing something vital on this M3. First, let's get it open. Can't believe this actually works. I love it. We are going to be installing some reinforcement plates. We are also going to be installing some of these exhaust hangers because I don't know if you guys could tell, this thing is sagging a little bit. It's not terrible, but the exhaust hangers on this exhaust are completely broken. The other thing I want to do is go to the parts store and rent a pipe expander. As you can see, these are really banged up, and I think a pipe expander would, in essence, make them as straight as they can be. Now, this remus exhaust, pretty rare, haven't seen many. I actually got this off of a junkyard car. The reason it's so banged up is because I had to put this muffler on my other E36, and let's just say the way I drive that E36, these got banged up. So I'm gonna do my best to fix those, but for now, let's talk about these reinforcement plates. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but on most E36s, the part where the front shocks and the rear shocks bolt up to the car, that little thin piece of metal on each side, it can warp and even crack over time. Now, if you see cracking, you're going to have to essentially get your car welded to fix those cracks and then weld in some reinforcement plates like I have here. Thankfully, on these M3s, the front shocks came with these reinforcement plates for the front shock towers already installed. I didn't know that at the time, so I bought these, and it turns out I don't need them. These, however, are for the rear shock towers, and they are not installed from the factory. So I'm hoping that my car's rear shock tower mounts are not cracked, they're not warped, because in those cases, when it's super clean, you can just bolt these on and they'll do the trick. You don't have to weld them on. This sort of preventative maintenance is something I think is incredibly important when it comes to keeping your E36 up and running properly and keeping the body in good shape. Now, unfortunately, the rear shock towers are covered by this carpet, and I hate taking trim off like this because I can never get it back in properly. It always seems to come so nice from the factory, and I know I'm just gonna mess it up, but I'll do my best. So as far as I can tell, there's a few things blocking this carpet from coming out. There's one clip here. We have this tail light cover that we need to take off. And it looks like we just need to pull up the carpet and it should come right out. And it might be blocked by the seat here. Luckily for me, these seats fold down, so we'll see. Let's fold this seat down. All right, and it looks like, unfortunately, the carpet is literally tucked all the way over here, even under this trim. So I guess I'm gonna have to remove both sides, which really sucks. All right, I'm gonna actually remove this bottom seat here. I don't think I attached it in properly, just so I can get more room to take off these. Try to lay it down gentle. Don't worry about this car mat. So, in fact, I'm gonna have to remove these completely from the car just to get access to these, and then get access to this, and then I'll be able to remove this carpet and hopefully that carpet. So, let's get to it. I'm gonna do this part off camera just because it's kind of a hassle. All right, I got the seats up out of their mounting places. As you can see, a little bit of mold. It's pretty gross. I'm gonna clean that off. But now I should be able to just pop off this and get it up. Let's do the other side, and we can. And there we go. Let's get this carpet off. I'm gonna start from this side just because it's easier. Little guy up. I had to bring out the big guns. Oh my God. Look at how big that clip is, just for this tiny trim piece. All right, since that one was such a pain to get off, I'm gonna get the rest of them off camera. Finally got this trim piece out. It's kind of a nightmare. These clips are super long, and I broke about half of them. So I'm just gonna buy brand new ones of these, install them later. But at least we have full access to the carpet now, and we can just pull it out. All right, we can finally pull this carpet out. So unfortunately, this thing, which I don't know how to get off, is stuck into this carpet piece. So I'm thinking I just bring it over here, bring it out the way, then we can get access to this other panel. But before we get into that, let's remove this super quick. right, now we finally have access to remove these two panels. As far as I know, they just pop out just like that. I'm just gonna push it to the side, and that is what we need access to. This one, unfortunately, has some trim pieces covering it, but we will remove that right now. Pull this up, pull that to the side. All right, guys, we finally have access to what we need. I'm going to clean off this surface here, so if there are any stress cracks, I'll be able to see them. Now that it's clean, let's inspect for cracks. Now let's check the other side. Okay guys, thankfully there are no cracks, at least none that I can see. Off camera, I checked really closely with the flashlight, made sure there wasn't even the tiniest hairline crack on any of those metal surfaces. Thankfully, because this car is automatic, the automatic E36s are not put under as much stress as, say, a manual car would be. That's just because a manual car can be revved out to rev limiter, shifted hard, causing a lot of stress on the body. With the automatic cars, very little stress. It's all computerized. So now that we've done all this work to get access, let's install these plates. Now these are two 13mm bolts. It's as easy as just popping off those two bolts, putting down this reinforcement plate, and then bolting it back together. Now that the bolts are off, I'm going to check once more for cracks. All right, guys, thankfully, there were no cracks. The cracks usually start around these edges where the bolts go through. All right, guys, this plate is in, torque to spec. Let's get the other one in 3, 2, 1. All right, you guys, it is in, torque to spec, of course. Now that these are in, I can feel a lot more comfortable about driving this car, driving it how I want, if you know what I mean. Wouldn't it be great if you could just snap your fingers and all of these little trim carpet pieces were just all back into place? That would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? Well, let's give it a shot. All right. We have all of the interior back in, including the rear seats. It fits almost perfectly. There's always a few things that I'm skeptical of, but it looks almost perfect. So it's all that matters. Now, next on the agenda, fix this exhaust. All right, after a quick trip to O'Reilly's, we have our pipe extenders. Now, as you can see, it's not like they're bent in any even way. So my idea is I'm gonna put the biggest pipe extender I can and just slowly push these little bends out and then rotate it each time. So eventually I can make them as circular as possible. Let's get started. Now I rented two sizes just because I didn't know which one would fit. I think we should just get started on the biggest one possible. Let's do a little quick test fit. Oh yeah, that's the one for sure. So I've never used one of these before, but I think how this works is you essentially turn it clockwise and then these things expand slowly. So I'm gonna get this started in the exhaust pipe and then we'll move on to a wrench. All right, I'm gonna start on this one. I'm gonna keep it as straight as possible and I'm gonna start expanding it by hand. And once I start catching, I will start expanding. Almost. So it looks like it's bending this up a bit, which we do not want. We want to bend this down as much as possible. So I'm going to turn this over here. Try to bend this up. Let's try this side. Look at that. It's bowed out a bit, which is not what we want. Let's try it. All right. We're making some progress. Definitely move this out a bit. So I'm going to turn it and try it again. definitely working. I just need it, I need it to hit this edge more. It's not perfect, obviously, because it can't be perfect, but it's actually doing a really good job. I'm gonna go for this side now, see if I can do much with this. I'm gonna keep at this as much as possible and get these as circular as possible. And once I'm done, I will check back in. All right, guys, this thing kept falling apart and it is continuing to fall apart. But this is about as close as I got. As you can see, unfortunately, this got a bit wavy, but until I could fix this thing, can't really fix that. But I'm honestly happy with the result. It looks circular from, 5 feet away. Unfortunately, this thing isn't big enough to actually expand this thing whatsoever. So it was really hard to get these little grooves out. So as it sits, I'm okay with this being a 5-10 footer. I mean, this whole car is a 30 footer, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. Hopefully I can find a new set of tips for this, because luckily it's just the tips that are damaged. The muffler itself is perfectly fine. There's no rust or any big gashes in it that would hurt the sound. Or alternatively, I'll just find another remus to swap onto this one, and I can use this remus on my other E36. Now that we're done with that, let's install the new exhaust hangers. Let's jack this thing up. All right, I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but there's a reason we are replacing our exhaust hangers. So yeah, let's get to it. Safety first. So the trick to jack this exhaust up, once you've taken off the old hangers, drop it and just swap the new ones in. Let's get the other side. Look at how destroyed this is. It's completely missing the center part, completely torn in half. Out with the old, in with the new. As you can see, the old ones have completely stripped off, so let's get these 2 bolts removed. They're 2 13 millimeters. All right, got the second one. Now to install the new brackets. Now all we have to do is raise this up and put them back. Wee-oo! Holy man, after a bunch of struggling, cursing, and eventually fighting this car, the brand new exhaust hangers are in. Well guys, that'll do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed working on this beautiful machine. I will get to the sunroof as soon as I can. I will also be working on the other E36 in the upcoming videos, which I have not introduced yet. It usually lives in this garage, but currently it's at a friend's house getting fixed and modified a little bit. I'll get into that later. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.